Hi, my name's John, and I've been looking on YouTube and I haven't been seeing the kind of video that I was hoping to see. So I want to tell you about my project. The project is we have broken granite on our fireplace, both the hearth and the header, and I want to replace it. But the fireplace framing, the mantle framing, covers it up. And so this video is really to show how I go about making access enough that new granite can be made, measured and installed, and then the rest of the mantle put back together again. So one of the things on my mantle and my mantle surround is that it has moldings all the way around it. This header molding and two side moldings. And fortunately for me, if you look at the bottom, I have an area here where I can begin to pry this off. Now the tool that I would use to do that is going to be a pry bar, and I can get it in this side right here and be able to provide the leverage I need to pull this molding away, and all of the trim nails for this will need to be removed. Now I've already done that on this side, the nails are gone, but I just want to show you a tool that's very helpful then. When you pull the molding out, these end cutters are very good tools for grabbing the nails that are remaining, and because the tool is rounded, you can grab it. If you pinch too much, it'll snap the nail in two, but if you just grip it, you'll be able to roll it and pull the nails completely out once I pull the molding off. So I'm going to be removing the nails on all three of these moldings, and when I do it, I hope to expose the edges of the granite so that new granite can be made and be put in its place. Before you take any of the moldings off, and I've already taken off both side moldings and I'm working on the header, it's worth mentioning that it's very important for you to scribe and cut the paint line at the molding so that when you tear it off, it doesn't do more damage and pull paint away. And you'd want to do that where there's a paint and also where there is caulk along the molding to the granite surface. Now, most people would just use a utility knife and that works fine, but I like using kind of an old school tool. It's a hook tool called a linoleum knife, and the linoleum knife does a good job of allowing me to place it right in the corner, and I'm going to create a cut line all the way across the molding. I like to do this at least 2 times to make sure that I have cut through the paint surface, and it makes the molding come off a lot easier. Now this is just paint. On the underneath side of this molding is the caulk, and the caulk is a lot tougher, so you might need more strokes to do it. Now here is where my granite is fractured, and so it's a little bit harder to cut it there because it's hitting seams. And once you do this, it will allow you, using the Wonder Bar, to pry the molding off, and it will make it a lot easier for it to come loose. That's good. If you recall, on the side moldings, I had an area that was recessed and it allowed me to get my pry tool in. I don't have that on the header and I don't want to damage the molding. So what I did on the header here is I took a block of wood and I put it on the lip, and then I just tapped down with a hammer all the way across, creating the gap that you see now. Now you're seeing the finishing nails. I haven't completely removed it. And when I pull out the molding, the finishing nails will either be stuck in the molding or they'll be stuck in the upper part of the mantle. And that's where this trim tool is very handy, because the trim tool then can be used to grab the trim nails and pull them. You do not want to hammer the nails back through the molding or it'll create a bigger hole. By just grabbing them and pulling them all the way through, you won't have a hole to repair. You'll be able to put in new finishing nails and then fill them when you're ready. Okay, so when I removed the molding, none of them stayed in the molding. They all stayed in the upper portion of the mantle. So you can see the finishing nails, there's quite a few of them. I just wanted to demonstrate this end cutter tool. Again, I place it up flush with a wood molding. I squeeze it just enough, I don't want to break it, but now I can rock it. Yep, that one broke. Let's try this one here. Then I can rock the tool, and in rocking it, it begins to pull the nail out of the molding. And so you can see that the nail here is curved. These are all air gun finishing nails. So they're long, have a very small head, and they come up pretty nicely. But because they are the air gun type, they're pretty fragile. It's easy to cut them off. If you do cut one off, you'll never get it flush. You will need to take a hammer, like in this case, and hammer the tip of it back flush with the wood. So now you can see that I've removed this, the top header molding that goes across, and I've gotten the nails out of it. And so you can kind of see I'm touching the very edge of the granite as I go along. So for a new piece to be put in there, it needs to just go up just a little bit into that corner. So the very top now is done. And now we turn to the posts, and the posts become a problem because the hearth itself is seated on the the fireplace is seated on top of the piece of the hearth, and therefore I need to be able to do something about removing the bottom because it is trapping the granite hearth. You can also see in my instance that they did a notch out, and this bottom block is actually recessed down inside the subfloor. And so I'm going to have to relieve some material in here in order for this whole block to come out. And I did this the same way I did the others. I put a tool behind it and I began to wedge it to get all of the finishing nails out. But again, I'm trapped on the side, so I'm going to have to relieve that next. To relieve the material there, I'm going to try to drill part of this subfloor out. And now that I've cleared out the rest with the chisel, I'm able to take this piece and move it all the way out. And now I'm exposing the next level that has the granite still trapped. So to preserve and remove the material that allows me to get all the way to the hearth, I needed to be able to remove a little bit of this plywood structure that comes down. So you can already see my cut line. I did that using a saber saw, and I did it by just running the saber saw along that line and then peeling this out. It had nails in it, and then removing the nails that were left. So now I have full exposure to the back, and when they bring a new slab of granite and they remove the upright pieces first, because they're sitting on the hearth, they'll be able to remove this, they'll be able to remove the hearth, and I'll be able to replace all of the granite in this fireplace set. Hi, so I'm back now, and Hard Rock Stoneworks is my contractor. They've come out and they did all the measurement for the hearth and the two sides and the header, and so now it's my job to tear out the existing, and some of that is going to have mastic behind it, and so I'm going to be using hammers and wonder bars, and so my goal here is to be able to remove all the existing stone to prepare for next week when they bring in the new. Well, you can see that the cleanup doesn't really, or the tear down doesn't take that much time, but I still have to clean up the mess, so I'm going to be doing that. The hearth is completely out other than a pad, and I need to retape around the edges of the frame of the fireplace insert with aluminum tape, but that's it, and then I'm done until Hard Rock Stoneworks comes back with the new material and installs it. This is what the fireplace looked like before I did the improvement, and this is what it looks like afterwards. Thanks for watching the video.